Well, it's great. Thank you guys all for joining me here today. And we're just going to talk a little bit about inviting friends to church. So it can be like an awkward topic, and sometimes we have problems inviting our friends to church. So I just want to talk to you guys and get insight on what you guys think with this topic. So I'll just start it out. If you guys have invited friends to church, what was it like?
Yeah, I've invited a friend, and it was definitely very awkward at times. Like just having them kind of sit next to me, not knowing what they're thinking while someone's preaching, and yeah, it's just very awkward at times.
Yeah. Esther, what about you?
For me, it was actually really easy inviting my friend to church. We were super close and like hanging out in the hallways every day, and so just like bringing her to church and allowing her to meet all my other friends was super easy, and we all blended in super well, and I really had an easy experience with it.
I also have brought friends to church, and it's like they're friends that have already like been Christian, but then they like don't go to a youth group or something, and so I brought them to church, and they've actually stayed in church, like come to our youth group recently and stuff, so it's been really cool.
Those are some good experiences, and it's good to have good experiences, but for so many people it's really hard. I find it really hard to invite friends to church. I don't know about you guys, but so why do you think it's so hard? What makes it so difficult?
I would say is that you don't really know how they're going to like react when you bring them, and I do get nervous about bringing them, and sometimes like if they have questions of the person that's going to vocalize their questions to you, is how do you answer that? How do you take their questions in and make sure that you're saying the right thing? I find that really intimidating.
Anybody else have anything?
I mean, you don't even know what this sermon's gonna be about, so I don't know. It's just there's so many factors of like if I bring my friend, like will she like fit in almost with all my other people that I surround myself with, and so that's kind of nerve-wracking. Like what if they don't like each other, and then we gotta go sit upstairs in a breakout room together, and then everyone's just like, so that's just how I feel.
Yeah, that can be difficult too. So what does the Bible say about bringing friends to church? Does anybody have any verses that come to mind?
Well, in Psalm 66, it says, I don't know the exact verse, I'm just going to paraphrase it, but it talks about how you need to share your experiences, like the good deeds and stuff that God has done for you. You need to share them with non-Christians. And so bringing your friends to church allows them to kind of see, like, yeah, I'm surrounding myself with good people, and God has blessed me with this youth group, and God has blessed me with these people that I surround myself with. I would like to bring you into it, and I want to tell you more about, like, this, if a sermon's on, like, a hard thing, going through hard times in your life, then you can be like, I've gone through hard things in my life, but this is where God has been there for me. So kind of having, like, the extra friend there.
Do you guys have any like tips or tricks for people that are struggling with inviting friends to church? What kind of tips do you guys have?
I would say that, like when Bethel does, or like 11 to 7s, or like fun, like youth activities, like our fall bash that we had. I think those are great ways to bring friends in because they're fun activities. I mean, I like hit and smash in the car. I don't know about any of you. And if you just get to hang out and like they get to feel like the atmosphere with all the kids and the whole group, and just because I mean youth group, it is about God, but it's also about the fellowship that we bring everybody into and that we all walk with God. And so bringing them into like these atmospheres really helps with just getting them adjusted. And it takes the pressure off of having them sit in like a regular sermon. As much as those sermons are beautiful and they're great, it takes this pressure off, and it's almost kind of like just like a big party. You just get to hang out with everyone. I mean, who doesn't like a party, right?
I think another thing is like Paul talks about a lot, like in Corinthians, that you want to kind of lead by example and stuff. So I think one of the best things for me that I did is just like led by example, and then they would be kind of like more open to like coming to church because they see how you act around other people. So they would like, oh, let's see why he does that. So I think that is kind of the best thing you can do.
I think growing a relationship with the person, like having a firm foundation with them in the first place, like, you know, I'm there for you and type of things like that. And so then they're like, oh, this person like cares about me personally and they want to bring me into their life even more by inviting me to church. That's how I personally see it.
That's good. Yeah, so what about those, I mean, you were talking about the big events. It's easy to invite people to big events, or easier at least. What about the worship services? Do you think it's appropriate to invite friends, non-Christian friends, to worship services? Or how would you go about that?
That's a very tough one because if somebody isn't like accustomed to what we do as Christians and they're kind of thrown into the deep end, it can either turn out like amazing, or it can be a huge turnoff for other people. So I think, I don't know, leading or following what God has for that person, I don't know, it's weird.
They're just like, whoa, what is happening? So definitely a foundation.
I think also like if you bring them to like worship service, you need to bring them to like a real like church service first, because when we go and do worship services, we're sitting there and we're praying during the songs. We are raising our hands, worshiping God, and we have our eyes closed. And like some people may see that and be like, what's going on? Are you guys like mentally okay or something? But if they come to like a fall event first or like a party first, and then you slowly bring them to like regular church, and then they have those like 20 minutes of worship that we have, like those 2 or 3 songs, and they see just the small like people are raising their hands and stuff, and then they may ask you afterwards, and then like eventually ask them to go to the worship service. I think that can that could turn out a little bit better, because then they are more like accustomed to like, this is what we do. We are praising our God because He is so awesome.
That's really good. So that leads me to my final question. Who should we be inviting to high school ministry then?
Everyone. That's a high school.
All right, well, thank you guys for coming and watching the student show today. We hope that you enjoyed it and learned a little bit about inviting friends to church, and we encourage you to invite a friend to church this week. So we hope to see you later this week on Sunday and next week on the student show. Thank you.